I'm Sam. I'm a film and screen shoot and amateur filmmaker. Like many people, there are some things I'm insecure about. For me, one of those things is my hair. As a black woman, I'm not traditionally seen as being beautiful. Whatever beautiful means. Eurocentric beauty standards have created a standard that black women are told they simply don't meet. This means that my broad nose, big lips and tightly curled hair aren't seen as beautiful or desirable. I'm 21 years old and I've seen many changes within myself, apart from the way I see myself and my hair. So, instead of hating a part of myself the rest of my life, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to go on a journey to begin to understand the links between race, gender and hair. I want to know why the hair on black women's heads matters so much to black people and the rest of society. I want to talk to my friends, my family, any black women who look like me. I want to look at the history, the film, the TV, the music, any sort of art that's influenced the way that we as a society look and talk and think about black women. I want to, at least by the end of it, say that I've given black women a platform and a space for them to talk about their own experiences, because that doesn't happen very often. By the end of it, I'm probably not going to have all the answers, but as long as I say that I've opened up a discussion and given black women a space to speak, that's all good with me. It would also really be nice if I could say that I liked myself and my hair a little bit more, but we'll see how that goes.
There was this one time where I had protective hairstyle, must have been braids, and took the braids out, and then I took all the dandruff off my scalp, like proper scraped it off, took it all off, washed my hair. I don't know what came over me, but the next day I relaxed my hair. Me and my raw scalp, I put relaxer on my hair, and my hair was burning. Like I was crying. I was actually crying. Like I was in so much pain, and I was like to my sister, my hair hurts so much. I'm in so much pain, and she was like, "What did you do?" I was like, "I just washed it and like proper like detangle it last night." She was like, "Are you mad?" And then we washed it out and like burn marks all over my head. Yeah, that's my earliest hair memory.
Probably getting a relaxer at like 4 and just remember crying my eyes out because it burned and trying to like not get it done. But apparently it was the best thing for my hair, so yeah.
Now, before we get into all the really cool hair stuff, it's probably time we address the very racist elephant in the room. I understand that some of you watching may not understand how racism links to the way that we view black women and their hair, so I'm going to give you a very brief and very simple breakdown of all of it. The first thing that needs to be understood is that traditionally, within society, black women aren't seen as inherently feminine. Stupid, I know, but very true. Author Norman Natu states that traditionally, women in general are seen as rational, passive, dependent, emotional, and intuitive. Something black women have never had the chance to be. She also states that, in general, black women are seen to experience sex, but not love. Ideas like these are often fueled when people like Thomas Jefferson, yes, Thomas Jefferson, write within their book that they feel the reason why black women are so unattractive and look the way that we do is because at some point within history, we must have mated with orangutan. Yes, orangutan. When we as a society begin to believe ideas like Thomas Jefferson's, the results can be incredibly dangerous and harmful for young black women. This is something that's explained really well by Tracy McMillan Cottom in relation to young black women, sexual assault, and the results of it.
That we are comfortable with black girls always being perceived as responsible for people's desire for them. Right?
Wow.
When people desire children in other contexts, we say that person has an issue.
Yes.
When the object is black girls, we say that other people's desire for us is our personal responsibility.
Romantically, there was a period of time where I was dating, and I found that when I dated people who weren't of the same ethnicity as me, that my hair became something that was a bit of a fetish, and I found that people sort of had a fascination. I don't mind curiosity, but I also found that there was a type of disrespect in terms of sticking your fingers in my hair.
Yeah, I used to perhaps not have the best group of friends when I was in high school. I went to predominantly white school, so there weren't many girls with hair like mine, and I was in a friendship group of just white people who couldn't really identify with my hair, and you know, sometimes it would be like just little microaggressions about my hair, and it's like you internalize those things and you don't even realize it. Stuff like, oh, like it feels like straw, it's so hard, and you're just like, haha. To be fair, I did have relaxed hair, so my hair was shit, but like, it's like you still think of it like you're like this isn't nice.
These ideas of black women lacking femininity and being hypersexualized animals are incredibly important to know and understand. Why? Well, because as Manatu goes on to investigate within her book, these ideas become ingrained within the mind of the directors, writers, producers who depicts black women on screen, and then they become riddled within the screen text that they then go on to direct, write and produce.
So the first time I saw myself and my hair represented on screen was probably watching a film called Amistad, which is a slavery film. And about, actually interestingly, about some slaves that ended up overthrowing their slave ship and then getting tried in court in America. So it was wild, should we say, wild slaves that had gone, that had basically become a sort of vigilante mob.
Ayanna Bird and Laurie Tharps highlight the importance of black hair through its politicisation. They discuss that within the early 15th century, hair was a carrier of messages in most West African societies. Just by looking at someone's hair, you were able to understand a person's marital status, age, religion, wealth, and social ranking. Some people's surnames were even identifiable through their hair due to each group having a unique hairstyle. When colonisation and the slave trade began, the heads of the enslaved were shaved, completely erasing part of their identity and changing the relationship between black people and their hair forever. As time went by and freedom, as limited as it was granted to many black people, many sought to survive in a now white world and began finding ways to fit into this society by trying to be as close to the white aesthetic as possible, which included straightening their hair. Both men and women would use homemade treatments and methods of achieving straight hair. This included using axle grease, butter, bacon fat and goose grease. This is also where the good and bad hair debate began, as black people with lighter skin and biracial children of slave owners often had looser curl patterns and therefore had a close proximity to whiteness and could gain more financially and socially. Those with darker skin and tighter curls were deemed to have bad hair, an issue that is still being dealt with today. So, if we put all of this together with what I said earlier, we can begin to understand why not just our bodies but the hair that grows out of it matters to us so much. It also explains why what's often written and displayed and depicted about us matters so much as well. So, it's probably time we take a closer look at some of this representation and media. So, what can we conclude from all of this? Firstly, female-led projects seem to go down way better than male-led projects. Colorism is still a massive issue within a lot of media. Big corporations still seem to not understand black women or our hair, and black women are beginning to take action with the way that we're represented and make our own content. We can represent ourselves the way that we want to. This is something that I felt is really beautifully done by New York photographer and content creator Sophie Love. She made a video about the problems that she has with the natural hair community in regards to sort of colorism and hair texture and length and all of that. I think she beautifully and eloquently does it so well. So those few examples that we looked at are just a few that I managed to find and sort of nitpick at and kind of critique. I wanted to know what others had seen within media and if anything had changed for them, and also what hopes they had for black women and their hair and just for the future in general.
I hope that we just learn to love all hair. At the moment, it's okay to love your hair as long as it's long, and you know, you've got people who can't really post their hair without, you know, people look a certain way. I mean, the mere fact that for weddings people will put a weave in because it's seen as more special and more professional. When will our hair, when will having a little afro puff be good enough for a wedding? When will that be okay?
more accessibility to products, like good products, and kind of just taking over that industry, because I feel like as a woman of colour, my hair is very important to me and it's a form of expression, and it kind of saddens me that black people kind of don't have a hold over like the black hair industry and don't kind of just dictate what happens.
More natural hairstyles, and again, not just in relation to hair, but I think it's also in relation to the characters that people are being portrayed as in media for black women. So not being this hard, really anti-man woman, or not necessarily being a woman who's like seen as like a promiscuous woman who's like having sex with lots of men, or some woman who's having a breakdown or something like that. It'd be quite nice to see a woman that's represented in a natural light as not having this really hard exterior.
Lastly, while sort of writing and planning and filming this, my sister-in-law was 9 months pregnant, if not like a week overdue, with my niece. And the day that we filmed, like a few hours after her interview, she gave birth to my little niece Amara, and it made me sort of think about what Amara will eventually kind of figure out and go through with her own hair. So I decided to ask my sister-in-law Shanah and her mum, Amara's grandmother, about what they hope for her to kind of understand and what they want her to know about her hair and herself while she kind of grows up and begins to have her own sort of hair journey.
Your hair is yours, it's part of your identity. Don't feel that because someone else has made a choice to do something with their hair that you have to do that.
I just want her to just take care of it and look after it and keep it natural.
You don't have to be fixed, and that there are going to be people who don't understand your hair, and that's okay, but you need to appreciate your hair and understand that it's there for life and that it's something that should be embraced, and no matter what you do with it, that's okay.